just to follow
Yeah.
up, I mean, you said there that the U.S. State Department, that you find that the allegations are unfounded. You also talk about the U.S. conclusion that these allegations are unfounded. I mean, is that a formal conclusion then at the end of the process?
I'm not going to speak to that. There's no formal conclusion of a process that I'm certainly speaking up from up here. There continue to be a number of deliberative processes as it relates to the situations on the ground, tools that we've spent a lot of time speaking about up here, things like CHURG, things like conventional arm transfer policy, things like the Leahy process. I wouldn't speak to those processes in detail, but these allegations of genocide continue to be unfounded.
I mean, people might see a contradiction because when you've been asked previously about alleged violations of international humanitarian law, you've said, I mean, in the NSM 20, for example, you say it's reasonable to assess there may have been violations, but you can't make a final conclusion because of a lack of information. It's basically what you say in that report. So you say there is a lack of information in terms of what you know about what's going on in Gaza, and yet you can say that you can conclude, and you have found, that the allegations of genocide are unfounded. So how is it you can conclude that, but not conclude?
So I perhaps used a too stringent of an adjective in conclusion. I said that not to imply that there has been some sort of formal process that has concluded through the department. What I am simply saying is that these allegations of genocide continue to be unfounded. It is not a reference on any process. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so can't speak to the definition and how that feeds into this, but I will leave it at that.
But can I just push a bit on the information element of this,
Sure.
about the data, the information from the ground that you have, because you sound still very definitive that you believe those allegations are unfounded, and this is an extremely serious allegation. But yet you have said in all other cases, when you said it's reasonable to assess there being violations of international humanitarian law, but you can't make that finding conclusively because there's not enough information. So I'm just confused about whether or not you do have information, because you're saying definitively that allegations of genocide are unfounded, but in every other case you don't have enough information to say whether violations of international humanitarian law are conclusively found.
Well, Saeed mentioned this again at the crux of when we're talking about genocide is this role of intent. And again, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to get into a back and forth or spend copious amounts of time on the legal definition. There are processes that we have in place as it relates to the humanitarian conditions and situations on the ground. We've spoken a great deal about those. CHURG, conventional arms transfer policy, things of that nature. But on these allegations of genocide, we continue to believe that they are unfounded, and I don't have any other assessment to offer.
Okay.